Lovely new day. Our feels wonderful, beautiful, handsome, enlightened, and fantastically prosperous and healthy you this wonderful, lovely new day. Well, I welcome all of you to today's program, and our topic for today is You Can Find God. Every one of us can find God. And our text is taken from the book of Acts of the Apostles, chapter 17, verses 22 to 29. And I read as follows. Then Paul stood in the midst of Mars Hill and said, Ye men of Athens, I perceive that in all things ye are too superstitious. For as I passed by and beheld your devotions, I found an altar with this inscription, To the unknown God. Whom therefore ye ignorantly worship, him declare I unto you. God that made the world and all things therein, seeing that he is Lord of heaven and earth, dwelleth not in the temples made with hands, neither is worshipped with men's hands, as though he needed anything, seeing he giveth to all life and breath and all things, and hath made of one blood all nations of men for to dwell on all the face of the earth, and hath determined the times before appointed and the bounds of their habitation, that they should seek the Lord, if haply they might feel after him and find him, though he be not far from every one of us. For in him we live and move and have our being, as certain also of your own poets have said, for we are also his offspring. For as much then as we are the offspring of God, we ought not to think that the Godhead is like unto gold, or silver, or stone, graven by art and man's device. End of the quote. You know, in one of the teachings of Jesus, he said, Ask, and it shall be given unto you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and the door will be opened to you. You see, what we should seek for, firstly, in this world, is to know of our relationship with God and why we are here in this world. You know, in today's inspiration that our brother Razak read, that was what Roy was asking, that when we go into deep meditation, we should ask, what is my relationship to God? What am I here to do? And how can I fulfill my purpose in this incarnation? You see, almost 2 weeks ago, an earthquake about 7.8 on the Richter scale occurred in Turkey. And for just 45 seconds, less than 1 minute, And when the earthquake comes, if you have experienced earth tremors, it doesn't shake at one place, so it moves. So for 45 seconds that it moves. Right now, over 46,000 people have already been pulled out dead. And I saw a Muslim preacher talking about this 45 seconds, and he was saying that the rescue workers, they are not looking for gold, they are not looking for silver. All the people there are looking for what? Men and women and children. No one is looking, oh, where is my car, where is my this. They are looking for their people. And so, if 45 seconds can destroy, in some phases, it was not even 45 seconds. Maybe just 1 second that the movement got to you. It destroyed your building. I was watching a video, and the people were standing there. The building started to shake, and suddenly it went down. It was as if some bomb had been placed underneath the building. It just imploded and went all the way down. From the ground, it sucked it. And so you ask yourself, these things or the toys that we are searching for, that we are working for, that we are giving our lives for, are they worth more than our relationship with God? I have read the lives of many saints, many people who made it their business to find God and found Him, and even though they used things, they saw God behind everything that they had. You see, today, my little message, because you have come here, I know that you are also here to want to, have a strong relationship with God. In our teaching tradition, in our Guru line, in Autobiography of a Yogi, Paramahansa Gunandaji wrote about his quest for God knowledge. He wanted to run to the Himalayas. His Guru told him, if you go to the Himalayas, chances are you may not find Him. You see, sometimes we think, oh, it is not the place, it is your intense craving for your relationship with God which will reveal that to you. And finally, his Guru looked at him and he asked him, do you want to know God? He tapped him on the chest and quickened the divine energy in him and remained still for a very long time in meditation. But before that time, Paramahansa Gunandaji had experienced the presence of God in his attic, in his house. In fact, in that attic that he meditated and found God, I went there. I meditated in the attic that day. But that day, I will not lie to you, even though I had experienced the presence of God before that day when I meditated there, I couldn't experience the presence of God. But he experienced the presence of God there. You understand? So it is not the place. It is your intense search for God. He said, if haply ye might feel after Him and find Him. I remember in 1977, before I went to see my guru, Lekmon, I had done my best to live what you may call a pure life. I was not eating any meat, no chicken, no fish, no nothing. And I was eating like a bird too. And you know something, after some time, I will not even, I will tell you, it's nowadays that, in my room I don't find mosquitoes. But if you are a mosquito and you come into the room and you disturb my sleep, when I wake up, I will kill you. I had this thing with mosquitoes. I tell them, the way you got inside here, I'll open the door for a little bit. The way you got inside here, use that same way to go out. The door is open. I'm counting to 10. If you don't go, I will kill you. And if they don't go and they still want my blood, I have to clap. And I will see Sheminse Muja. Look at blood on my palms. And one day, it was Sunday afternoon. I had closed from church, and right in front of Farisco, you remember Farisco? Right in front of Farisco, an old man saw me and approached me, and he said, "Young man, you have a very bright soul, and I just called you to commend you." And I said, how can someone who does not know me walk up to me and say I have a bright soul and me I don't know? Because at that time I had fasted for 40 days before. 40-day fasting. I fasted like that before, not once. I had done everything, but the knowledge of God was still very far away. I was like John the Baptist. I think at that time in Ghana, no one had done more, like austerities than myself. But still, in the kingdom of God, those who knew God, I would not even be counted. And so that thought, kept on going through my mind as I walked home. And when I got home, I was in my room thinking about it, and then I sat down. And I started feeling very sorry for myself. That so upon all your fasting, upon all that you have done, God has not even taken notice. So why are you living then? So I sat on my bed, and with tears flowing, I said, God, what crime have I done that you don't want to reveal yourself to me? Let me know today if you are God, or if not, let me just go and live my life like I want to. And in the midst of the tears, suddenly some stillness started to steal over me, or over my mind and body, and I could see my body shaking. And then the energy in the spine started rising from the base of the spine up. And as I followed the energy, it got to the crown, and then there was deep peace. I didn't see any flap angel. I didn't see any white-bearded man, but my mind was clear, and I understood everything. There was no doubt about the encounter that You say you won. Now, this is it. I don't know how long it lasted, but in that state that my attention went into, if you had asked me the day that the world was created, I could have told you, because it was like everything, was known at once. And the next thing I knew, I was waking up from sleep. I don't know how long I slept, but after that, my body just fell off on the bed and I slept. And I said to myself, how can I, increase this knowledge of this presence? And not long after that, I prayed to God. I said, God, if this is my path, because I was reading Roy's books and I wanted to go to see Roy. If this is my path and Roy Jean Davis was my teacher, please open the way. And if not, just close it. And 2 weeks later, I found myself in America, and I went to Lakemont, and the rest is my story. History. His story. You see, when I got to CSA Lakemont, I met my guru, and you will ask me, was your devotion to God increased or did it diminish? It increased to the point that I also found out that my guru was God appearing as, because he had traveled to Japan to he had been invited by the head of the Seicho Noie movement, Dr. Taniguchi, Masaharu Taniguchi. He had left that very morning, and I had one of these questions I wanted to ask him. And as I was going down the hill through the woods from my house to his office, in the middle of the woods, it occurred to me that he had traveled. And so as I was returning back, then the inner voice said clearly, look, the body that you call Roy is a state of consciousness. And you don't need that body to know everything. But if you keep close to the state of consciousness that you also really are, everything will be known. And the answer just popped up. And so, even though I listened to Roy very well, you see, when things like this, the absolute truth is being said to you, but you shouldn't think that, in your relationship, there shouldn't be respect or anything. And then, when I was writing the effective prayer, it got to a point where I had to define love. And the definition of love had not escaped me, but I couldn't find a definition which was simple enough that everyone would understand, All that I knew about love was what I had read from other people's experiences. And so, for over 3-4 days, I would go and sit in the office and look outside, pondering what love is. Until one day, I was sitting down looking outside, and we had a dog called Queen. And I loved that dog very much. It was lying down. There were rose bushes. There was a lavender tree. And then suddenly, I felt the presence in this body like it was expanding. And then it was the same presence in the rose bushes, the same presence in and as queen, the same presence as the lavender tree. You know, I could see that we were all one. And I said, hey, what is this? And he said, that is love. Seeing divinity clearly in all, in yourself and in others, and learning to relating appropriately. You see, even though I could behold the presence here, maybe the tree is not beholding its presence and may be operating from a different state. So in my relationship to it, I should know that God is present in there, and do my best to touch that presence in him or in it or in him or her, whoever I come in touch with. So you see that in India they have this greeting namaste, meaning I behold the presence of God in you. But ask yourself, will you behold the presence of God in the one in front of you and refuse to behold the presence of God in and as you? And if you are beholding the presence of God in that person, whether he knows it or not, would you like to cheat God? You know? So in your business dealings, in your everyday dealings with people, you will do your best to be truthful. You don't want to steal from them, you don't want to hurt them, because you know that what you are doing to them, you are doing to the presence which is divine, which is in you, which is in him. So everyone becomes minueni, I'm the same one. And we have corrupted it, we say minuya, minuya, minuya. And so we have lost the meaning of minueni. Minueni is minueni. You see, you know, we are in La. You know, the La, one of the clans or one of the families or one of the clans is Leshin. And you know that East Legon, most of the land there belong to the La people. And there was a man called Bawa, who was the one who was taking care, which was like the guard of the Leshi people's land. And so Bawa of Leshi. And when the English people wrote Bawa Leshi, we look at it and we say Bawa Leshi. Recently, I was going on a walk around here and I saw Leshi Street. Should I say Leshi Street? You know, Medina, they call it La Nkwantanan. That is the name. But how many people know it as La Nkwantanan? You understand? And so we have corrupted our language, said that meanings of words which should help us to immediately see what it is we are beholding has been lost on us. And we have, it's okay. And we have been involved rather with wrong definitions, wrong understanding, and Sebi, all the things have become confused. Our minds, it's like the Tower of Babel. They said that the inhabitants there, they got confused. Because language, we build our structures on language, communication. And if you are able to communicate carefully for others to understand you, you'll be able to build society in a certain way. You see, I'm not a politician, but I'll tell you something. this current government, their communication has been so poor that they have done so much for this country, but we don't see it because no one is communicating it well. You understand? They say, oh, well, the people themselves will know. I mean, how can I know if you don't tell me? Do you want me to go throughout, take a car and go throughout the country and say I'm going to look for what the government has done? You have to communicate what it is that you are doing. That is why they say, let your light so shine that men will behold the good things that you do and give glory to God. You understand? Let the light that you are so express itself. And in expressing itself, it comes out as goodness because it is the grace of God which is expressing. You will express peace, you will express joy, you will express beauty, you will express harmony, you will express health. And all of these together forms the grace of God, the attributes of God which you experience and begin to manifest. We are told that one day Jesus was on a ship and he was asleep in the basement of the ship, and there was a storm, and his disciples became afraid when they saw the waves going higher. They said, hey, let's go and wake up Superman, or else we all perish. And they went and called him and he said, oh, why, I was having this nice sleep, why do you come to wake me? He said, Master, you go upstairs and see for yourself. We are going to die very soon. This was not an earthquake, but a storm at sea. And when he got out there, he looked at the storm, and he didn't say, storm, be still. He called the storm, peace, be still. He called the presence of God in the storm. Peace is an attribute of God. And because he knew peace, when he called peace, peace he heard it, peace listened. And peace became still. So the power of your spoken word, when you understand the power behind the words that you speak, will let truth be manifested in your life and in the lives of those that you speak unto. There are people whose books I've read and how they found God. One of them, Ramana Maharishi, he left home as a small boy. He went into the temple. He was very devoted to God. And when he got there, he said, oh Lord, here I am. Consume me as a spider consumes a fly. And if you have been watching flies caught in a spider web, see that the web catches it and the spider moves closely and then takes the fly into his mouth, and it gets to a point where you don't know where the spider begins and the fly ends. They are one. That was a fine expression. Consume me, just like a spider consumes a fly. And he happened to know God so much. They tell you that God is in our hearts. You've heard that a lot. But Solomon says that the fool's heart is at his left hand, but the wise man's heart is at his right hand. And yet, when people want to say, when people are singing the national anthem, they will put their hand on their heart because they feel that is divine. No. The spiritual heart center, where you point me, is here. And if you focus on that, if you focus there, spirit you can feel the movement of spirit, and when you concentrate well, it will ignite the energy in the spine, lift your attention. That is the inward presence, and then it will show you the unmanifest aspect of God to transcendence, the immanent and transcendent aspects of God. So the sages, in their quest for God, found these things and put it together, and therefore when one awakens, he becomes like a guiding light to others. People flock to him or her, and then he tells them, well, this is how I found God. And unanimously, all of them are, if you find a person who has found God, he won't tell you a different story. The Buddha, after all the austerities that he went through, it was when he sat down under the Bodhi tree and he said, I won't get up until I know God. They say, seek and ye shall find. Ask God to reveal himself and it will be given unto you. Knock on heaven's door and it will be opened to you. Paramahansaji once said that if he is looking for a job and no one is ready to employ him, he will create his own job and offer it. You see, if you are looking for God and all of the pastors you are listening to are not saying anything that will help you find him, say, okay, maybe you all don't know God, that is why you are giving me these stories. So I'm going to find God myself. And you sit, because you are already in God. And you see, most of the time we don't ask the right questions. Like, we'll sit down and we'll sing, I want only thee, Lord, thee, only thee. I want only. But in our hearts, we are not feeling that we want to know God. We are saying, I want only wife, oh, give me a wife. I want only car, oh, give me a car. I want only building, oh, give me a house. But if you say, I want only thee, and you find him, the rest of the presence, the rest of the gifts shall be given unto you. Look, this facility that we are in, an organization like us should not be able to build this building, but you are seeing that this is a manifestation of God's grace. You understand? And I was telling Isaac and a few friends the other day that whenever I'm doing anything for God and you push me around and try to tell me it cannot be done, I will show you that God can do everything. There's nothing that God cannot do. So long as I know that God has asked me to do it, I won't listen to you. I'll go ahead and do it, and it will glorify him. And so today, I came out here to tell you that if you search for him with all of your heart, with all of your mind, with all of your strength, if you really, Paramahansaji said that, he said, if you will say to God, God, I want to know you, I want to know you, I want to know you, or you say, God, 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 all the time and focus your attention on it, he will have mercy and reveal himself. He only knows, the devotee who knows how sweet he is, knows that it is not by his personal power, or mental energy, but by the grace of God. He only knows whom God knows, or allows to know. He knows whom you let know. Only God will reveal himself to you. And so, do not lose hope if currently you've not found God, but go through your spiritual disciplines. Calm the mind, make your mind receptive to the awakening of divine energy in you, in your body, and eventually God will reveal himself to you. But most of the time, it comes as peace which passes anything that you have known. Most of the time. Sometimes you will see light, but the light is, I see it as an effect. God is revealing his presence in your form. In the body, we are light, but we are more than light. So today I have told you several stories and my personal experience of the presence of God. I know that one of these days, some of you may also have the opportunity to tell us about your personal experience with God. And if you are here and you have not encountered the presence of God yet, don't lose hope. Keep hope alive and strengthen your faith, and love will blossom. God's presence will be revealed in you as you at last. Thank you. Yes, Bertrand.
Thank you so much for the